deep down, I just kept waiting for the day I'd finally see you again.
These words from Finn encapsulate the unbreakable bond he shares with Jake. Across Adventure Time's 283 episodes, there are only 5 where they don't appear together. That's how inseparable they are, and that's what makes it all the more heart-wrenching when Jake is the first to take his last breath. Finn can't handle it, and the way he clings to Jake's memory, refusing to let go, is as tragic as it is beautiful. Imagine spending your whole life with your best friend, only to lose them decades before you pass. How do you move forward when half of your soul is missing? But what if it were the other way around? What if you were the first to go? Wouldn't you want your best friend to live their happiest life, even without you?
This painful paradox is at the heart of Together Again, a story about grief, love, and the ultimate act of letting go.
And somehow, Adventure Time manages to solve it in the most beautiful way possible, starting at the beginning of the episode. At first, Together Again doesn't feel like a story about death at all. It feels like we've just been thrown into another one of Finn and Jake's classic adventures. The adventure opens with Finn and Jake stealing ice cream, running through Ooh like it's just another Tuesday. But something's off. The world feels like a memory, a mix of old and new. Ice golems of villains they only met later in life are attacking them, and Finn's voice, it's much deeper than it should be. And then there's Jake. He's happy, laughing, cracking jokes, as carefree as ever. But when Jake blurts out,
"You did it, Finn! Everyone's alive!"
tears start flowing from Finn's eyes. Something he can't understand either, but for us as the viewers, it's already foreshadowing what is yet to come. Now, what Jake says next makes it even harder. When they free Turtle and the worst princess from Ice King's clutches, Jake says,
"We'll meet up later and enjoy all this sweet ice cream, all right?"
On the surface, it sounds like nothing. A harmless, reassuring goodbye. But Finn refuses to let go. He grabs Jake's frozen body, dragging him forward like he's carrying a piece of his own soul. Because he's not just refusing to leave his best friend behind in the dream, he's refusing to leave him behind in real life. And then comes the gut punch. Inside this dream world, Jake tries to go somewhere Finn won't follow, his own grave. Finn sees it. Even though this is his own subconscious, he still can't accept it. He drags Jake's body with him, refusing to fill the literal hole in his life, though it's all in vain. Jake is dead, and he's not coming back, sending Finn into a downward spiral. He pulls the backpack off of his back and wakes up not in Ooh, not in his bed, not in some adventure. He's surrounded by darkness, suspended in some strange, eerie limbo. He's old, and not just old, he's dead. Suddenly, the whole prologue wasn't just nostalgia, it's denial. Because in Finn's mind, that was exactly how things should be. No loss, no pain, no growing old alone. Just one more adventure with his best friend, Jake.
This entire first act of the episode is about denial.
Finn's subconscious builds an adventure where nothing has changed, where Jake is still by his side. But deep down, he knows the truth, so his dream keeps pushing him toward reality. Jake's grave symbolizes the loss Finn has never truly accepted. The 50-flavor ice cream represents the layers of death and Finn's own subconscious desire to reunite with Jake, even if it means dying himself. Jake's words, "We'll meet up later," hold a double meaning. They're comforting in the dream, but devastating in reality.
What we can learn from this is that denial is never the answer. Only acceptance leads to growth.
And Finn's journey of acceptance is only beginning, because while he's finally faced the truth of Jake's death, he still hasn't faced what it means for himself. He's not coping in the way you think. Being dead isn't a sad thing for Finn. It doesn't scare him, it excites him. But why? There's only one reason. He finally gets to see Jake again. That thought alone fills him with joy. It's a relief. He lived such a long time, and now he can finally reunite with his best friend. But there's one problem. The afterlife isn't some neat, orderly place where souls just float around waiting for their loved ones. It's a chaotic, bureaucratic mess, and Jake is nowhere to be found. At first, Finn's excited, running through the strange dreamlike landscape, calling out Jake's name and clapping, a call-out they came up with when they were still alive. He fully expects to see him any moment now.
Finn, when we wake up in the 9th dead world, promise me you'll listen for this sound.
But as time passes, nothing. No response, no sign of Jake. Finn doesn't stop. He can't. He searches everywhere, calling, running, asking anyone who will listen.
We gotta find Jake so we can be reborn together.
But Mr. Fox knows better than Finn where Jake is.
That's not gonna work. Jake's not here.
Jake is in another death world, and the only one guarding those worlds is New Death, so they head over to him. On the way there, they see Tiffany, Finn's old rival turned afterlife undertaker, who actually tells him where Jake is.
Jake's in the highest of the high places, the elitist fields. He's in the 50th dead world.
Tiffany shows Finn where New Death is, and unsurprisingly, he's not there to help.
Get this loser out of here.
In a last-ditch effort to find Jake, Finn steals a magical instrument from Tiffany that allows him to travel between the different dead worlds. He skips through every world to find Jake, but still, he's nowhere to be found. That's when Finn's frustration starts creeping in. Denial turns to hope, now turns to anger.
Jake? Why didn't you wait for me?
Finn fights, schemes, and pushes against the afterlife itself, all for one reason. Jake wasn't waiting for him. That hurts more than anything. And that's when Jake finally appears. For the first time in decades, Finn sees his best friend again, and it's not the joyful reunion he imagined. Jake's completely at peace. He's not surprised to see Finn, just a
Yeah, bro. You're Finn. I know you.
no shock, no overwhelming emotion, no urgency. Because while Finn has spent years longing for this moment, Jake was never waiting for it. He wasn't stuck in grief like Finn was. He didn't spend time in the afterlife desperately looking for his best friend. Jake made it all the way to the 50th dead world, a place of true enlightenment where souls became one with the universe. He isn't in any of the lower realms where spirits hold on to the past like Finn. Finn fought against loss every step of the way. He refused to let Jake go when he died. He refused to let himself move on. And now he sees the result of that. Jake is completely at peace, while Finn is still clinging to the past. And that realization breaks Finn.
We were supposed to be together and then get reborn together. Little bros forever.
Through this exchange, we learn about the importance of accepting change and finding strength within oneself. Finn's journey illustrates that while bonds may evolve or seem distant, personal growth and self-acceptance are crucial steps in navigating life's transitions.
This segment of the episode beautifully portrays the complexities of friendship, loss, and the path to inner peace, showing that while coping and change is always optional, it could be more than necessary.
And the lesson doesn't end there. After some slight struggle, Jake finally comes to his senses and jumps to Finn's rescue.
Lay off, boy! That felt really good.
For a moment, everything seems to be going back to a normal adventure. Jake and Finn are reunited, fighting monsters again on a journey to the 50th dead world with one ultimate goal in mind: to be reincarnated together. But that's deemed impossible as New Death is actively trying to end the entire cycle of reincarnation. So he destroys the 50th dead world. If no one can reach the 50th dead world, then souls will have nowhere to go. And if there's no reincarnation, then nothing new can ever be born. The universe itself is at risk. That's when Finn and Jake realize they have to stop him. But they can't do it alone, so they head to the only being who can help them, Life herself. They descend into her underwater realm, a place of endless creation where souls aren't just moving on, they're being reborn into new lives, which New Death is putting a stop to.
Life, your large sun is cutting off reincarnation altogether.
Life, unlike Death, is gentle, patient, and powerful. She sees what her son has done and she acknowledges that he must be stopped, but she won't interfere directly. Instead, she gives Finn and Jake a weapon, something powerful enough to kill Death himself.
That is the kiss of life. It has the power to conquer death. But beware, it comes with a very important warning.
It looks simple, just a staff carved from pure light, but there's a catch. Whoever kills Death must take his place. And that means if Finn kills New Death, he'll become the next Death. If Jake kills New Death, he'll become the next Death. Whoever does it, they'll be separated for eternity. For the first time in decades, Finn and Jake are faced with an impossible choice. One of them must die forever to save the world. Neither of them wants the other to make the sacrifice. So they do what they've always done when they can't agree. They fight.
You've got so many lives ahead of you!
Not out of anger, not out of resentment, but because each of them wants to save the other.
Well, I don't want him! Not if you won't be there with me! Ouch!
Finn refuses to let Jake throw his afterlife away. Jake refuses to let Finn make that kind of sacrifice. They punch, wrestle, knock the staff back and forth between them, but they're not really trying to hurt each other. They just don't want to say goodbye.
I love you!
I love you too!
Their fight is interrupted by someone neither of them expected, Mr. Fox, and in a moment of confusion, desperation, or maybe even fate,
You're fighting over a stick? You're brothers! You're a team!
Mr. Fox takes the staff, and before Finn or Jake can stop him, accidentally kills New Death. In an instant, New Death is gone, and Mr. Fox, he becomes the New Death. And with that, the cycle of reincarnation is restored. Finn and Jake have saved existence itself and got everything they wanted. A chance to be together again. But their journey isn't over yet. After everything they've been through, is that really what Finn wants anymore? Or is it time to let go? Mr. Fox asks him the heavy-hearted question.
So, Finn, ready to settle into the 37th?
But Finn isn't ready.
Yeah, but deep down, I just kept waiting for the day I'd finally see you again.
Jake questions Finn. We've all seen that Finn had been able to live to a pretty old age. He must have had plenty of other things to live for, right? Well, he did, but he always kept waiting for the day he'd finally see his brother again. And in that moment, Finn has an epiphany. He looks at Jake, and for the first time, he understands. Jake isn't just letting go, he's moving forward. And maybe it's time for Finn to do the same. He inhales deeply.
Mr. Death, I want to go back.
And after everything he's been through, Finn chooses life. Because for the first time in a long time, he's not just waiting for the day he sees Jake again. He's ready to move forward. He hugs Jake for one last time.
Proud of you, bro.
Thanks, bro.
And then he steps into the light. He isn't holding on anymore. He's ready for a life that isn't spent waiting for the moment to see his brother again. And right before he disappears into his next life, Jake does something beautiful. He dives back into the light with Finn. At the last second, Jake chooses to reincarnate too. Not because he has to, not because he needs to, but because he wants to.
Jake, what are you doing? I just had my donkey epiphany.
I know. I'll just come back for fun. Because it's great being alive with you.
And just like that, Finn and Jake are together again. Not in the way Finn thought they would be, but in the way it was always meant to be. Because some friendships, they transcend lifetimes. This episode isn't just about Finn and Jake reuniting. It's a story about grief, acceptance, and the beauty of moving forward. Here's what it teaches us. Love doesn't end with loss. The people we love stay with us, even when they're gone. Moving on isn't forgetting. It's about honoring what we had while making room for what comes next. True friendship is timeless. Whether in life, death, or something beyond, Finn and Jake's bond is proof that some connections never fade. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real adventure. And if you're looking for more lessons from Adventure Time, check out my other video by clicking here.